So I'm not even gonna bring my machine up here, I'm just gonna go off.
Well, let's hope it doesn't work.
Wonderful. So we will reconvene into open session. We were in closed session a little bit earlier, and welcome the mass gathering that we have here tonight to the annual meeting, or the monthly meeting for the school district of Amery. And as we get things going, we have consent agenda items. Do we have a motion?
Which I add, and I'll make a motion to accept those.
Okay, I have a motion to accept. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, anybody to discuss? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, carried. Thank you. Community comments, I know we have one registered here tonight.
You want me up here?
Yeah, if you could, and we'll turn the microphone on there so that the camera picks it up. We're politicians too, so anytime the microphone can pick it up and it shows up on TV, usually that's a good thing.
Test. Are we live? Hello.
You can steal Sean's if that was.
Test.
There you go. Yeah, this is for our monthly meeting. This is the slim one every year because most of the administrators are off.
Okay.
Go ahead. And you'll be okay, as long as it just picks you up here.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, thanks for the opportunity. My name is Jeff Peterson. I reside in the town of Georgetown in Polk County. I've lived there for 32 years. I'm a retired educator. I taught for 23 years at the Unity School District in Balsam Lake. I have a bachelor's degree in elementary education from the University of Minnesota, and I got my reading teacher certification through classes at UW River Falls. I'm here tonight because I'm a candidate for state assembly. I will be the Democratic candidate on the ballot on November 8th. And I'm here basically to introduce myself to you and give you a few of my thoughts on education issues. I do have some literature that I left at Jim's table, and you can have that later, I guess. I'm interested in a whole number of issues, but education is definitely one of my main issues. Having been a teacher, I retired in 2008, so I wasn't around when Act 10 happened, but I understand the impact that it had on all of us. I have great concerns about the future of public education in Wisconsin, and I have to say, I think at this point in time, we're going in the wrong direction. This year, according to the Taxpayers Alliance, the average school district, and of course nobody's average, but the average school district in Wisconsin will see a 0.8% increase in state aid. And that's over last year's 0.0% increase in state aid. So we're not even keeping up with the rate of inflation in terms of state funding. And we have a long ways to go, as you all are well aware, we have a long ways to go to make up for the cuts of 2011. We have the biggest state budget in history, up $3 billion from last year, and yet we are spending a smaller percentage of that budget on education than we have in the last 20 years. So it seems to me that among the current leadership in Madison, education is simply not a priority, at least public education. Voucher schools are doing quite well. Funding for voucher schools since 2010 has gone up 14%. In that same time period, funding for public schools has gone down 4%. You may remember when Tommy Thompson, I think it was, offered that the state should set as a goal 2/3 funding of public education. We never quite reached that point, and in recent years we've been going the other direction. Right now, Wisconsin state funding provides about 45% of your annual budget. If you were across the river in Minnesota, you'd be getting about 64% of your annual budget from the state, and only having to rely on local taxpayers for the remainder. So those are some of my concerns. I'm also concerned about teacher morale. I'm concerned about the declining numbers of young people entering education. You've heard the figures, anywhere from 20 to 40% decrease in the number of college students that are pursuing degrees in education. I really think we need to turn things around. Public education, public schools are the backbone of our communities, and I would like to go to Madison and help strengthen our public schools and provide you with the funding that you need and maintain open communications. I think that's very important as well. So that's all I have. I have some doors to knock, so I'm going to excuse myself, but thank you for the time.
Thank you for coming in, and we appreciate
Actually, I
that.
have one of those, he knocked on my door.
Did I?
I got one of those.
So, for the record, we, when Mr. Peterson requested that to come, and we were certainly glad that you did, because I think, it's important to all of us. We did extend the offer, Mr. Cookta did, to Mr. Jarko as well, and I believe he's in Cleveland this week, but he'll be here probably within the next month or so. So thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Yep. So we will have a fair amount said on that, and that's great. And I was actually talking to Jim afterwards. If you read some of the WASB stuff, they are promoting that school districts get together with neighboring districts to put together candidate forums for assembly and senate candidates. And I was just mentioning to Jim, maybe that's something we could host and invite some of our neighboring, the conference or the CISA. If the way the WSB said is to come up with predetermined questions and that sort of thing, but allow them to speak to education issues for those people that are within at least this assembly district or the Senate district with Senator Harsdorf. So maybe that's something we'll work on. Yeah. It's on me. Okay. Anybody else here to talk? All right. Let's move on then to our administrative reports. I think we have them. Anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, I just want to mention that our administrators, it's July and it's the 1 month they get a reprieve, and so they have been extremely busy with interviews, hiring, and summer projects, curriculum writing. We had a CISA 11 math team, a math grant that we had quite a number of schools working all last week here at the intermediate school. We also, the administrative team attended the PLC, Professional Learning Communities Institute in the Twin Cities. That was actually last month, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 3 days. So that's all I have to report at this time.
Okay. Any questions? All right. Moving on to our informational items, facilities and parking, Mr. Cookta.
Yeah, we've been in conversation with a number of different people, and we're coordinating a meeting to meet. I was hoping to get it done in July, but it looks like with summer vacations and so forth, we'd like to meet with all of the outdoor facility sports, and we're planning to do that Monday, August 1st, to meet with head coaches and building grounds, maintenance, and head coaches and youth representatives from each of the organizations: football, soccer, tennis. Now I'm going to forget one, but cross country, and essentially talk about the parking facilities, roads, and long range plan, and seek input from our head coaches and youth coaches. Oh, baseball and softball.
Thank you.
And track. Yeah. Track and field.
Quick question on that. So regarding the new building going up on that cement part, where are we in that right now?
Just getting bids, receiving.
Are we looking, do we have a target date when we're going to want that project sewed up?
As soon as possible, but
That
it'll be
doesn't
before
matter.
the beginning of the school year.
Oh, so we are looking at
Well,
next
this-
month
this
and a half?
fall. This fall,
Okay,
yes.
great. Good deal. And have you guys seen, we've seen some of the design ideas, right? Have we seen any of that? Yeah, we should probably get a look, just so we can look at it. One of the things, do you mind if I jump in and just kind of update you, just after Keith and I had a meeting, where that slab is, you know what I'm talking about? We're gonna build that, storage area, and they're also talking then, George, we just talked to him, just because I caught him on the street one day. So it really wasn't an official conversation, but I'll share what I learned as a resident, was that we're putting a concession stand on that one side for soccer and tennis and whatever else is is there with some roll-up doors. George actually said to have a nice awning that comes out where you can put a picnic table out, there should be enough room and things like that, so I think that'd be really neat. I know Mr. Gould is involved though, depending on, placement with soccer goals and that sort of thing, so I think that, I haven't seen any final plan or anything, like I said, I kind of just grabbed his ear one day when I saw him on the street. So, that's what. Okay, our general aid and budget discussions, Mrs. Sigmund first. Or Mr. Gould.
Okay, we received the July 1st general aid estimate, and we have, we're receiving the estimate is approximately $120,000 or $121,000 less than the previous year, which is a 1.39% decrease. The reason for the decrease is, I guess, what you could call a perfect storm. It's not a huge decrease in aid, however, it is a slight decrease in aid, so that amount goes toward tax revenue. And so the reason being that our district revenue, our district property value is approximately $33 million greater, $34 million greater last year than it was the previous year. And so there's an inverse effect. When property values go up, we're considered more of a property-rich district, so the per student value that we receive for state aid goes down. And we also have continued slight declining enrollment, and with the lower numbers, we have less aid that we receive because of declining enrollment, 17 less than the year before. So that perfect storm.
So is that state aid based on the 15-16 enrollments? Then they base that for your 16-17 state aid? Is that how that works?
It's actually the January.
So in other words, if you have an influx of 50 students, you're still only getting aid on what it was a year prior to that? Is that kind of how that works? Kind of?
Kind of.
This is a projection for the October aid, which at that time is certified, becomes
Right.
official.
Right.
And it will be the September 3rd Friday count, but it's a 3-year rolling average.
Oh, okay, that's right. I remember that. Yep, no, I remember that. Okay. Yep, that makes sense. So we're one of the few that didn't get an increase in state aid this year when Mr. Peterson was talking, or not like the rest of the state. I think there were 3/4 of the districts got an increase, and we're one of the 1/4 that got a decrease. So they need to redo that school funding formula. Someday. Budget alternatives, funding alternatives, Mr. Cook. Oh, unless you have any questions on the state aid, I'm sorry.
Okay, I wanted to mention that there was a delayed per pupil aid payment that was received in early July, and it must be booked in the 15-16 school year. So there was a delayed payment from the state that came in the amount of $238,000 that we have to book back to last year. And we've got some suggestions for what to do with that money. We have $154,000 technology upgrade, a remainder of the $296,000 project for infrastructure upgrade that we had intended to put into our budget. If we pay it off with this per pupil delayed aid that was received, then it'll free up money. Plus, we're also receiving E-rate funding, which is about $138,000. So it would free up some money. Some alternatives would be also to put money into our Fund 73 OPEB fund. We've been funding that at about $50,000 per year, and the total in the fund is about $450,000. And this is the first year that we have retirees drawing from that now.
That was like my first year.
Oh, sorry, okay.
It's the first year that it's decreasing instead of increasing.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yep, we're on.
Okay, so it's first year, it's.
We're actually drawing out more than what we're putting in.
Right.
Yeah. And
So-
how much, what's the balance difference on that?
We put in about 120, or I need to take out to put into the.
And we put in like 50?
And this year, we're actually putting in 75. Previous years, we put in about 50
So-
this year, and so we're not quite.
So what would be the break-even amount on that ballparking?
Well,
Well, the problem is, we talked about this, and it's not a finite number because the payment is made out over 8 years.
Oh,
And not
And so we have to
everybody gets the
project.
full 8 years, it depends on the age they retire at.
If they retire at age
I
60,
see.
they only get 5 years. And so,
I do have kind of a scattergram that I'm going to put together to help us kind of come up with a better solution. But right now, people that are being funded by it, I think there's like 12 of them. 10 of them left early in their age, so they will all get at least 6 to 8 years.
okay.
So the group that's in there now will be funding longer. Again, if they retire a little older, they won't get that quite as long. So the 120 that I pay out each year will grow another couple years as more retirees.
It makes sense.
But then at some point, it should level off, and as 8 years drops off, and, you know, the other group isn't funded that way, so.
So eventually we'll be down to
We'll be down
right?
to 0, but we're kind of hitting that peak right now because that's where we're at, so.
Well, we got the peak and we have the money to cover it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Which was our intention, right?
that was the whole reason it was.
Yeah.
our suggestion, and Twyla's already mentioned that we put 75 instead of 50,000 into that Fund 73 OPEB fund. We'd like to put another 50,000 into that so we'd be kind of level this year. And that would leave a remainder of $34,000, which could be placed into an assigned fund balance to go toward. Oh, that's right, for the charter school and Montessori school
Oh.
implementation. We
Just
had-
like a slush, extra fund to
Yeah.
cover incidentals that we're not expecting?
Well, in this past year, we spent over 90,000 in preparation for.
Right.
And supplies and so forth, and we don't have a designated amount. That 80,000 is gone, and we would be able to designate then monies to be able to spend for other educational supplies, be it project-based learning, Montessori, or whatever needs there may be. So that would.
So none of these are capital, so you don't necessarily need board action, or? do you
There's no
need
board action that's needed.
Right, just kind of
I guess
advice.
We're just looking for advisement.
I think that's, my opinion, it's perfect. That's perfect. I like the paying off I like the technology thing, getting that out of our way now, because that basically frees up X number of dollars in 16, 17 that we had been planning on spending.
Correct.
Wonderful,
Yeah,
that's great.
I want to thank Twyla for her work on the finance and recommendations as well.
Does anybody have any other suggestions, or are we all comfortable with that? Yeah, so good. There's your consensus.
Good, thank you. Okay.
But funding alternatives, do you want me to do that, or do you want to do that?
Well, we're going to talk about the financial position that we're at currently for the school district, and feel free to add into this, but talking with R.W. Baird, our representative, the district is in a good position financially because even though we've had 10 years of consecutive deficits in the budget, many cuts, we have debt falling off next year, and that debt that will be paid off on the district will free up some space so that if the district is interested in looking at different funding alternatives through an operational referendum, that would be an
Hey,
option.
can I qualify your statement,
Go ahead.
because I think it's important if people are watching on camera, the statement that we're in a good financial position needs to be expanded. We are in a good financial position to be able to utilize alternative funding like referendums right now. Not that if this debt falls off, that we're in a good position, because we're in the same position of cutting money every year. So I just wanted to qualify that it's not like we're all of a sudden in a rosy picture. We have the potential to make it much better because of the position we're in with debt falling off. I think it's important for the community to understand the difference.
Right, and so to clarify that, because the debt is falling off, we could actually pass a operational referendum, look at the needs of the district, and be able to do that without raising taxes and keep it level over the next several years. So what we'd like to do, I mentioned last month, take a look at long-range needs of the district, assess what long-range needs would be for operational and facility needs.
one of the things Jim and I learned a week ago, we attended a webinar on referendums and what you can and cannot do, and I thought we'd known everything, but what I didn't realize is that, I mean, because we're looking at, Twyla, what's the number gonna be that falls off? Is it in the $3 million range? Is that what the,
Like,
give or take, please,
Yeah,
it's
I-
not an exact quote, but it's in the,
2.5.
yeah, 2.5, somewhere in that neighborhood. So, one of the things that we learned is you can do a combination of reoccurring and non-reoccurring referendums of cap overrides. So, you know, how we've kind of been talking indirectly, and jump in where I go wrong here, but we've been talking indirectly about being able to, when this debt falls off, to be able to hopefully do a cap override that's gonna allow us to pick up some of the hurtful cuts that we've made, you know, to bring our class sizes back to where they should be, and you know, those types of things we looked at, whatever that number is. 500,000, $1 million, $2 million, I don't know, on a non-recurring. So at that point, your taxes still decrease. And what we can do then is to do an additional cap override that would be,
I think you said that.
did I say non-recurring?
You meant
Okay.
recurring.
I meant a recurring referendum that goes for, you know, like the last one we did. And then a non-recurring for X number of years to allow us to be able to do some of the things that we could budget for, like the blacktopping, like the, some of the other buildings and houses that we've been working towards, that we could actually build a 2 or 3 year budget plan in to be able to fix those things. And then when that falls off, and I'm just gonna throw out numbers, so please don't use, I'm just throwing out absolute wild numbers. $1 million recurring cap override, $1 million non-recurring 3-year override, you know, so that gives you $3 million, whatever, to work with. And then to look at our facilities plan and say, what kind of things can we do when that 3-year plan is over with, that would keep our property taxes the same and allow us to be able to actually do some improvements within our district, and whatever that is, you know, we'll know at that time. So I think where the good news is, what we learned is that we can do a recurring and a non-recurring cap override at the same time, which I think is a good thing. That helps us out a lot. And then, which buys us time to be able to do what the administration had asked us is, can we do a facilities overview? And take a look at what we have in the facilities, what this community might need, and ways that we can perhaps do some things within this community without raising property taxes that might be able to benefit the community as a whole. Is that a fair way of saying that?
Very good. Yes.
So what I'd like to propose is that we've already had a lot of this work done by our strategic planning committee. We have the financial wing on there, and what I'd like to propose is that we develop a board committee and use, if we want to all be on it, that's fine, we just have to post it, but whomever wants to be part of that is to get that financial arm of the strategic planning committee back in here and to start discussing about what we could do referendum-wise, what types of things, to take a look at the last 10 years of this district and see things that we've cut that we go, boy, if we could have this back, we can improve the classrooms. And I think that's the important thing. What can we do to improve the classrooms here? Is it bringing our class sizes down in some of these class sizes that we've gotten in a high school have gotten really not productive. You know, are there things that we can add back in that we've had to cut without raising property taxes? That's where we're in a really good state. And if we bring those stakeholders back in, and whomever from us with the board, we can have some pound out sessions and discussion sessions, and maybe come up with a plan, short term for that, you know, for what we want to do, mid-range term and long term, which is really what the strategic plan called for financially. I'd like to be able to do that.
So back to these referendum votes, that'd be like 2 referendums on the same election day, right? 2 separate voting activities, right? Okay.
And then perhaps another one X number of years down the road, or maybe not. Maybe it's something we do all, you know, I mean, that's where you get the team together. And that's where we're.
Right, because we've done that how many years ago?
Yeah. The difference is when we did it a couple of years ago was, it was a bonding referendum. So we bonded those projects, where this we could actually do was a 3-year cap override, and then the cap returns to X, whatever that was. So it's done a little bit differently, and then when that amount falls off, the reoccurring part, then that gives us a little bit of breathing room to decide, again, what could the community use that we might be able to help bond in a referendum, you know, 2 years down the road, that will allow us to be able to do whatever the community decided was important to do in the school district. Is that fair?
Yes, very good.
Are we good to have a committee on that? Who would want to be on
That's
that?
a great idea.
I mean, I'd love to be on that for sure.
Yeah, since it's a board committee, it has to be posted anyway, so.
Does it?
Yeah,
Okay,
And we'll all be.
doesn't matter if you're all or.
we just won't take any action, but I think at that time, we can lay out our vision as a board for what, because, and we can get the administration to say, here's where the cuts are that we've made since 2006, the several $1 million we've had to cut year after year after year, and some of those cuts we don't need to get back in, but when I look at some of the things we've done in the classroom specifically, that we can get some of those things back and take what we have as a great district, and like Mr. Cook just said, make good greater, and I think we have that opportunity now to be able to do that. If all referendums were to fail, then we're at exactly the same load where we are right now. The benefit is your property taxes go down, but the quality of education doesn't change. So I think that's where we can have that community discussion, and that's where I really like having that strategic planning team, that wing of it come in so that we get the community involved, and we can really, I think, look long-term and at the financial situation that we're in. So I don't know if Mr. Cook can put one together.
Absolutely.
And
We'll look at that finance committee, subcommittee.
anybody else have any ideas on that?
I think it's a great idea. I'd like to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Mostly because
Yeah.
previous being on the board, I found that interesting and enjoyed understanding on that, so I'd like to.
And we also then found out lots of the rules about, which we've known, but, things regarding referendums. But that's really something we want to start moving, especially if we feel as a board that we want to, begin working towards a resolution, we need to get this work done ahead of time so that we're not willy-nilly throwing some short-term plan to the community, that we really have a well-thought-out plan that is totally transparent, that's been worked on by not only the board, but by people within the community that have a vested interest in the school, and I think something that we can deliver to the community and then let them decide if they believe that this is something that's worth keeping their property taxes at a nice steady rate. As opposed, last time we did it, we increased taxes. Here we can keep it the same or even decrease taxes and fund the schools better. I think it's a great opportunity, so, okay, thank you. That was my dissertation for the night. Anybody else have anything on that? Anything from you? No? Okay. So we can go on to the first reading of policies, and you can update on the social media.
Yes, this is a policy we've actually looked at previously back in March. There were other policies we looked at the same time. And this was a social media policy that went to our Wisconsin Association of School Board Attorneys. They've been massaging it, having conversations with us, and now we've had this policy and we're ready to bring it back. Since so much time passed, I felt it'd be a good idea to bring it back for a first reading once again for the board to take a look at and consider. So there've been quite a few changes made and updates.
So this was Bob Butler that changed most of it?
No, actually, Barry Ford.
Or Barry Ford, okay, same office.
Yeah. Right. So there'll be a second reading next
Maybe
week.
Barry should have been doing that instead of the webinar order. Okay, so it's first reading, everybody gets a chance to take a look at
Yes,
it.
let me know if there's any questions or.
I read through it, it didn't seem
recommendations.
anything. I'm sure he put at the end that there's several laws which preclude this, and there's a lot of ambiguity in there, is what I picked up when I looked through it, so.
Also, Tracy Hendrickson, our communications specialist, has been working with me on developing this, since there's quite a bit of social media references in the policy.
Okay, so we'll deal with that next month. Now, the action items, do we want to go through all of these one by one?
I think so.
Okay, we've had okay, go ahead.
At least.
I'll let you just take it from now on.
Starting with the standards. The
We'll just take it
academic-
one at a time and vote and approve them and be done.
The academic standards to start is simply, in general, this is the annual notice. This is a requirement by state law put into effect last year. It was actually stated that the first meeting of the school year, which is in July, every school board must approve the standards. So essentially, the Common Core standards are the K-12 English, Language Arts, and Mathematics standards. All other programs are based on the most current model Wisconsin academic standards, and also for science, the next generation science standards. And that's what's stated here. So those
Okay,
are
so-
all of the standards, so if you want to.
Can I get a motion to approve that?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, for a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Just for the record, the federal government does not require us to do Common Core state standards, nor does the state government, contrary to things you read. This is what we believe is right. And there's no other standards out there at this time, so. Anything else? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next, the certified staff handbook.
Okay, this is, again, something that we've worked on for a couple of months, the certified staff teacher handbook. There was a listening session held by the board back in May, I believe, and we've updated the information. All of the updates are indicated in a track changes mode in the program, so nothing in particular, I guess, that's earth-shattering.
And I think we saw everything last month when we first looked at
There
it.
was
There was a
some-
couple of different changes.
Yeah, there was a recommendation by the board to change the breach of contract to two different amounts, and August going from 1% to 3% effective in August. That change you'll see in here in the blue, even on that page now.
Yep.
Good job. Any other wording changes? There may have been some minor.
Yeah, I think we went through everything last month, so, unless there's any other questions on it. Can I get a motion to approve that?
I'll make a motion to approve the certified staff handbook.
Okay, is there a second? Anybody want to discuss? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that carries. Certified staff salary and benefits package, again, I think we saw most of this.
Yes, this is essentially the same as last month. Again, just updates, the salary schedule itself is the same. There's some wording that was put in for clarification. Can't see it real well from here, but I think it has to do with just, again, simply clarification. Reimbursement for credits, talks about the 6 credits per year toward the reading specialist license. And also the new Wisconsin Deferred Comp Program information is in there. And summer school compensation, which the board took action on to change. The new amounts are in there. It was forever, it was for a long time, $20.50 per hour. And this clarifies that the hourly rate for curriculum work and other forms of compensation remains at $20.50, but the summer school pay specifically for teaching summer school classes is $24 per hour for enrichment classes and $28 per hour for remedial classes. And then just date updates are put in. And I think that's about it.
So I think for the record, just as an update and a courtesy measure, you did go through this ahead of time with the union representatives, so they knew,
Yes.
just ahead of time as a courtesy.
Yeah, one more thing we did put in was the PBU information. It was requested that that be put in the actual salary benefits portion, and so that was inserted in as well, so that there's a uniform place to find that, because staff can earn a personal day, so it's actually truly a benefit. With 20 hours of professional development unit, they're called PBUs, they can earn an additional personal day.
So can I take a motion to approve the salary and benefits for next year? Is there a second?
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, support staff handbook.
Okay, again, listening session was held and information was brought forward, and the board made changes to the salary and benefits portion. One of the main changes, I guess, the one you see on the board is simply talking about the exception of youth hockey to the activity pass. That's in both handbooks. But the probably most significant change would be there was a shift, oh, that's on salary benefits. No,
Yeah, there was not much else changed.
Not much else that changed really.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, can I get a motion to approve that?
I'll make that motion.
Lynn, is there a second?
Second.
Chelsea, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that one carries.
Okay, just to mention that there was a 1% raise in the compensation schedule that you see, that's up on the board. That's in the,
For the support staff,
for support staff.
was 1%? Is that what it was?
On just, that's not including the health.
Oh, okay, all right.
Insurance.
Yeah.
So this schedule indicates the 1% raise in all of the different areas. And then the other most significant change in salary, in rather compensation and benefits, was the shift differential, which there was a night custodian shift differential, 50 cents per hour. That's now also given to day shift custodians for the additional maintenance work that they do during the day. So it in essence equals it out, makes sense.
What's that? Is it,
Yeah, for all day shift.
I think it was for all day shift. I think that's what we had intended, just because of all the extra work that, not work, doesn't mean that, some of the extra different responsibilities that they have, that's probably a better way to put it.
Correct.
Okay,
Yep. I made that change.
okay.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve the package? Keith, is there a second?
Second.
Lynn, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay. Where are we? Administrative staff handbook.
Okay, and there's essentially no changes in this handbook, it's just an update
Yep.
of from 15-16 to 16-17.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Dale, is there a second?
Second.
Keith, any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Extra C for the year.
Okay, we have a spreadsheet with all of the positions posted.
So zoom in on that because we need some extra coaches for people in the community.
We do
We need a
some
volleyball
coaches,
coach
yeah.
for middle school, we know that.
Yes.
Mr. Gould has been basically walking up and down the street with a sandwich board recently trying to get someone, so.
Yeah, so there are a number of open positions, but we have all of those people.
What does low numbers mean for
That's a position that won't be offered this year because there aren't enough.
enough kids in cross country? Okay.
As the assistant.
Yep, okay.
And we have a football coach position being split between two coaches. Kyle Granica is moving up to JVC team coach. He was in middle school last year. We do need middle school football coach, forensics advisor, girls assistant golf. That's a position that it would be new because we have many more. I forgot the number Mr. Gould said, but a lot more students are signed up for golf, girls golf. Oh, okay. Oh, I guess that position will be filled by Ariel Humble.
Which one?
JV golf.
Oh.
For girls,
Okay.
Yes.
or assistant golf rather. I missed that. Okay. Then we have a couple more positions available here. You can see, but we'd like to recommend approval for these positions being presented to the board.
We did add one, didn't we? Didn't you add a new one?
Yes, we did. We,
Chess.
The
and
chess
that's
club?
actually on the personnel action.
Oh,
of the
okay.
chess.
All right.
Chess club is a new position. Is that on the top? On this?
It's not on this one.
Yeah, it's about time. Mr. Bensley puts lots of time in on that.
Yes.
All right, great. Can I take a motion to approve that?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay. Chelsea, is there a second? Lynn, any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next, the energy exemption proposal.
Okay, This is we've talked about for a couple of months now, the energy exemption. Can I go back just to correct something? We got a wrong name on the coach advisors, Skills USA.
Well, you just tell us.
Yeah, it's not Chris Chelber.
Oh.
It's Josh Ganji.
Okay.
We just omitted that change.
Good catch.
All right, thank you. So the energy efficiency exemption, the district has the last 2 or 3 years now had an energy efficiency exemption, which we qualify for. We actually had this out for bids, and we used Apex last couple of years. It was awarded to McKinstry this year.
We did that.
We had a 8.7% fee rate previously last year from Apex. This came in amazingly low at actually about a 3% rate through McKinstry, and they've done this for years. Plus, they gave us flat rates. As you can see, the fees for the buses are $3,000, a flat rate of $1,500 per vehicle, and then $1,000 per vehicle for the van. And then the rest is at a 3%, I think a 3% fee for the rest of the work. And the total is about $340,000 that we'll be able to do these energy efficiency improvements. And just to mention that there's a payback in which has to be calculated, and the district will actually receive payback for this total amount over a period of time that they have to guarantee in the contract.
And I think the amount, basically, when we do the final levy, is going to be pretty similar. So again, you're not going to see any sort of tax impact, because we've kept that pretty, depending on all the financial circumstances, I think we've tried to keep that amount, so taxpayers really don't see a difference, and we're able to utilize it. Yeah, so it's kind
Yeah,
of
in fact, our calculation is that there will be no tax impact with this amount that's being used.
Yeah, which has been our goal all along. So, can I take a motion to accept that?
I'll make a motion to accept the energy efficiency exemption.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Keith, any discussion? I think it's interesting to see it's $10,000 for a door at Wheaton Elementary and $15,000, so you're at $25,000. I'd love to see what that building cost. And now we're just replacing lights in the door for that amount. I'm sure it's, we could have gone a long way years ago. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. And then the resolution for the energy exemption.
Yeah, this is the official resolution, which has to be passed by the board.
Yep, we do this every year. Okay. Lynn, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that passes. Where are we at,
We're at closed
Yeah.
session.
going back to closed session? Okay, so, what's that? Yep, so we will take up personnel, we need to what's the best way to rephrase this? We need to resume closed session, because we were in there earlier, and it will be under the same statute where we officially entered it. Up there, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility in order to take that personnel action pursuant to Wisconsin Statute 1985-1C. And we shall be, my guess, a half hour probably at most, and we will come up with those personnel, a vote on those personnel recommendations and administrative contracts.
And then we'll have Dina email it.
I can call in the morning.
Or else, okay. Yep.
You're in tomorrow.
So, do I have that motion?
I would like to just introduce our cameraman for the first time, Neil Anderson, and
Hi, Neil.
Step in
welcome
front.
him and thank him for the great
Do a
camera.
selfie.
Wonderful. Now, if Mr. Cook has to get a drone in here one day and wants to do the overview, stop there. Okay, so all those in favor, or no, we gotta take that,
Aye.
Chelsea?
Yes.
Lynn?
Yes.
Keith?
Yeah.
Bill?
Yes.
And I vote yes, we're back closed. Thank you, everybody.